Have you ever felt that profound absence of feeling? That really strange, hollow sensation of emotional emptiness, like you're detached from your own life? Well, what if I told you that's not a failure of your emotional system at all? It's actually a successful, high-level defense mechanism. It's your brain, on purpose, deploying its own biological painkillers to protect you from an emotional overload it thinks you can't handle. Over the next few minutes, we're going to take a journey right into the brain to understand how this works. We'll show you the exact neurochemical process that creates this protective shield, explore why it can get kind of stuck on, and reveal the surprising hidden cost of keeping it active for too long.
Okay, let's really lean into this idea because it's so important. That feeling of nothingness, that void where you expect joy or sadness or anger to be, it isn't a bug in your system, it's a feature. It's your brain recognizing that the emotional pain you're facing, maybe it's grief or intense fear or deep betrayal, is so powerful that it could be, well, psychologically annihilating. So it does something absolutely remarkable. It creates its own anesthetic, flooding your system to numb the pain and make sure you survive.
And here's the paradox, isn't it? The very experience that makes you feel broken or disconnected or maybe even a little inhuman is actually a sign that your most ancient, powerful survival instincts are firing on all cylinders to protect you. So let's take a closer look. We're going to unpack this paradox piece by piece. We'll map out the brain's chemical shield, understand how it becomes a habit, and then explore the hidden price of living behind it.
So here's our game plan for today. We'll start by grounding ourselves in what this numbness actually feels like day to day. Then we'll get into the fascinating science of the brain's chemical shield. After that, we'll look at the loop that can make this state a default habit, unpack the high cost of this safety, and most importantly, we'll finish up with a practical, step-by-step path you can use to start reconnecting.
All right, part one. Let's start with the lived experience. Because before we get into the science, we need to talk about what it actually feels like to be emotionally numb. It's so much more than just being sad. It's the absence of feeling itself. It's this persistent, nagging state of disconnection.
People often describe this as watching their own life like it's a movie. You're there, but you're not in it. You see things happening, you go through the motions, but the emotional punch just doesn't land. A moment that's supposed to bring you joy feels totally flat. A situation that should cause sorrow feels distant, almost academic. You might go through the motions at a party or a family dinner, smiling and saying all the right things, but inside, there's this profound emptiness, like you're separated from everyone by an invisible wall. And this creates a huge sense of inauthenticity and distance in your relationships. I mean, how can you connect with others when you feel so disconnected from yourself? Some people even find themselves seeking out really intense experiences, risky behaviors, extreme sports, just anything to try and break through that chemical barrier and feel something, just to prove they're still alive in there.
Okay, so now that we've talked about the feeling, let's get into the science. Because this experience isn't a personal failing or some kind of character flaw. It is a powerful and very precise biological intervention. We're going to look at the neurochemistry your brain uses to build this shield.
So it all starts with something neuroscientists call limbic overload. Think of your limbic system, especially a little almond-shaped part called the amygdala, as your brain's smoke detector. It's always scanning for threats. Now, when it detects a major internal crisis, grief so sharp it feels fatal, or fear so intense it's paralyzing, it sounds the alarm. But this isn't some small kitchen fire. This is a full-blown 5-alarm blaze. The system realizes it just doesn't have the resources to fight this fire. So its priority shifts in an instant, from feeling the emotion to simply surviving the event.
And this is exactly what happens next. To prevent that complete emotional annihilation, your brain reaches into its own internal pharmacy. It unleashes this flood of what are called endogenous opioids and endorphins. These are basically your body's self-produced versions of morphine or heroin. They are powerful, natural painkillers, but their job here isn't to numb a physical wound. Their job is to numb a psychological one, creating a chemical buffer between you and that overwhelming pain.
This whole process is called chemical dissociation, and it's an incredibly evolved defense mechanism. Now, these chemicals don't actually erase the emotion. The pain, the grief, the fear, it's all still stored deep down in your brain structures. But the chemicals create a kind of firewall, preventing those signals from reaching your conscious awareness. It's like the phone line to your feelings has been cut. You know a call is coming in, but you just can't hear anything. And this is exactly what creates that feeling of detachment from your emotions, from your body, and sometimes even from reality itself.
So, this begs a really important question. How does this emergency, life-saving maneuver become a chronic, everyday state? How does numbing turn into an automatic habit? Well, the answer lies in something we can call the dissociative defense loop. This loop has 4 distinct stages. First, you've got the trigger. The amygdala senses an emotional overload. Could be a memory, a tough conversation, a feeling of being trapped. That leads directly to number 2, chemical deployment. The brain automatically releases those endogenous opioids we talked about. Then, and this is so key, we have number 3, PFC compliance. Your prefrontal cortex, the conscious thinking part of your brain, actually gets on board. It engages in what's called top-down control, basically agreeing with the shutdown plan and helping you mentally check out. And finally, that brings us to stage 4, pain mitigation. The sharp, unbearable pain just vanishes. And that immediate relief is an incredibly powerful reinforcement. Your brain learns a simple, potent lesson. When feelings get too big, shutting down works. The loop is complete, and now the brain is way more likely to use this strategy again, carving out a well-worn neural pathway.
But, this safety, this pain-free state, it doesn't come for free. There is a very, very high cost to keeping this shield up. Let's talk about why this state is so unbelievably draining.
So it all comes down to a trade-off. In the short term, you get exactly what you need. The immediate pain is gone, you feel stable, you survive. Your system is preserved. But in the long term, the cost is just immense. You experience what's called ego depletion, this deep, profound sense of exhaustion. You lose the ability to feel genuine joy because that chemical shield isn't selective, it just dulls everything. And this leads to some serious relational distance, creating a huge gulf between you and the people you care about. It becomes hard to be present, to empathize, to share in their joys and sorrows, because your own emotional world is completely offline. Your brain literally sacrifices vitality for survival.
Let's drill down and get even more specific about the neurological price tag here. 2 major things are happening. First, the inhibition of the insula. The insula is the part of your brain responsible for feeling your own internal state. Your heartbeat, your breathing, your gut feelings. Well, the numbness chemicals actively block the insula. This is the exact mechanism that creates that eerie sensation of being disconnected from your own body. Second, ego depletion. Remember that top-down control from your prefrontal cortex? That takes a massive amount of energy. Keeping that overwhelming feeling suppressed is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It requires constant, active, high-energy effort. That's why you feel so exhausted all the time. And this might be the most important reframe in this entire explainer. If you experience this, you are not lazy. You are not apathetic or uncaring. You are, in fact, executing one of the most resource-intensive defensive maneuvers your brain is even capable of. The numbness isn't a passive state of nothing. It is a very active state of suppression. It's a loyal, if very costly, bodyguard for your vulnerable self.
Which of course leads us to the most important question of all. If this shield is so costly and draining, how do you even begin to safely lower it? How do you convince your brain's ancient survival system that it's okay to start feeling again?
And that brings us to our final part, a path to reconnection. Now, the goal here is not to fight the numbness or attack it. That would just signal to your brain that there's another threat, which would just reinforce the need for the shield. Instead, the goal is to gently and systematically teach your nervous system that it is safe to feel.
Step 1 starts with a simple act of awareness we can call the freeze audit. First, when you notice that feeling of nothingness creeping in, just recognize it for what it is, a signal that your limbic system is overloaded. It's data, not a defect. Second, apply a quick reframe. Instead of thinking, I'm broken, try saying to yourself, this is my brain trying to protect me. This simple shift changes your relationship to the numbness from one of shame to one of curiosity and even compassion. And third, just gently try to identify what might have triggered it. Was it a specific thought, a memory, an interaction? No judgment, just observation. Okay, step 2 is all about breaking the spell of dissociation with a pattern interrupt. The numbness lives in the mind's detachment from the body. So to break it, you have to bring your awareness right back into your body, using strong sensory input. We're looking for what's called a minimum viable action, the absolute smallest possible thing you can do. Hold an ice cube and just focus on how intensely cold it is. Stand up and really feel your feet planted firmly on the floor. Smell something strong like peppermint oil. This sharp sensory data acts like a system reboot. It overrides the chemical detachment and activates your body's nerve pathway for safety and social engagement. You're basically telling your body, hey, I'm right here, right now, and I'm safe. And finally, step 3. This is about rebuilding your capacity for emotion through something we'll call microdose feeling. See, right now, your brain believes that big feelings are catastrophic. So you have to prove it wrong with small, manageable bits of evidence. The goal is to intentionally pick a minor emotion, like the slight frustration of being in traffic or the gentle joy of hearing a song you love, and just allow yourself to fully feel it for 60 seconds. Time it on your phone. After that minute is up, you reinforce the lesson with a simple thought. Okay, I felt that, and I survived. This process, repeated over and over, slowly and safely recalibrates your nervous system. It weakens the need for that chemical shield by proving, 1 minute at a time, that feeling is not fatal. You're rebuilding trust with your own emotional world.
So after all of this, what's the ultimate takeaway? It's that your emptiness is not evidence that something is wrong with you. It is a badge of survival. It is a testament to the fact that you have faced something your brain perceived as unsurvivable, and your entire system did exactly what it was designed to do to get you through it. It's actually a sign of your strength.
And that leaves us with this one last thought to hold on to. The numbness is a brilliant, temporary shield designed for an emergency. The real work, the courageous effort, is to not mistake it for a permanent home. It's about slowly, safely, and with a lot of compassion, proving to your own system that the war is over, and it's finally safe to come home to yourself and feel everything again.